Okay. No, I just have to make another because I just read this one. I'm just like, oh my god. Let's start. Coffee's great, by the way. Ah, yes. Also, if you're ever on a vessel, sea vessel, grapes are so effective at really just evening out that seasickness because you'll want to eat, but then you'll want to puke later, and that doesn't do well. So most people will just eat a lot, or they won't eat at all. There's multiple ways to do it. So I just did grapes because I could eat those and not puke. So anyway, June 10th, 40 miles from the south shore of Chirikov Island, Gulf of Alaska. The interview went well. Oh, I guess I did have an interview. The captain asked me some basic questions like, what's your favorite sports team? Who is your favorite athlete? What color is this? Do you listen to Avenged Sevenfold? Some basic questions. There's a whole psychology thing behind it now that of course, so. Stuff like that. I may be working in the freezer hold below, which I at first did not. So, we'll get to that later. Which is actually below the galley, or it's actually on the same level as the galley. And then in the actual freezer, that is below, that's on the most bottom part of the ship, at the same level where the engineers work. So, let's see. On the bottom boat, it is negative 22 in the freezer. When we start working, it'll be like negative 25 to negative 27 degrees Fahrenheit. I can't confirm or deny that, but they said it wasn't on since they didn't need to direct energy into it, since there was nothing down there. So, well, they had ice cream, but that was in a different, like, sealed off area. Ice cream and other stuff like that. Yes. Which we never got until later. Memories keep coming back right now. The galley is about open for lunch. Anyway, I won't know where I'm working until later. And then I write again at 6:21 p.m. It's very hard to write on the vessel. No, really. Usually, my handwriting is pretty neat. So I started rereading Dr. Sleep, and right now I'm on page 127. Oh, that was such a great book. Dr. Sleep. Also, I'm on the toilet right now, and okay, this is that part. I'm on the toilet right now, and I was writing this. A dude walked into the stall next to mine, started going number 2. Well, it says something different in here, but for the sake of everyone's ears. While listening to Bruno Mars. You know, he just came to the stall, had Bruno Mars playing, and was taking a fat one. That's pretty funny, I suppose. It wasn't to me during the time, but it was. But now he's listening to an assortment of upbeat pop songs, romancy R&B, and I can smell that. This situation has lost all humor to me now. I just saw his face, but he hasn't seen me. I'll explain that in a second, because there's the cracks in the stalls. So, yeah. Where was I? One of the crew bosses just came in and started talking about taking a dump, while the music had just switched over to hardcore East Side rap. Then about a minute ago, I noticed a dude spying me through the crack between the stall door and the stall, while brushing his teeth. While rap is playing in the background, while my boss is still talking about passing his bowels, while I'm writing this. Yes, the community on the ship was very diverse, and after a while, everyone just got very comfortable with each other, and that's just how things worked. How it worked. So, continued. I've got to say that was an eye-opening and equally disgusting experience while in the bathroom stall. On one hand, I feel less lonely in many ways knowing Most guys are just as odd. On the other hand, I'm going to make it a point to stare back into the eyes of anyone watching me go to the bathroom or take a dump. So, point made. June 11th. Oh, well, I guess I wrote this weird thing. That's my own little language stuff. I can't decipher it, but I know pretty much what it's talking about right here because it's pretty personal and specific to someone in my life, my half-sister, who had passed a while ago. So I did a lot of reflecting on that, and I just didn't want it to be out in the open where anyone could just kind of read this. So that's why I even ended up writing my own alphabet language thing. So June 11th, 11:37 a.m. docked at Sandpoint. Now it's such a beautiful place, so beautiful. We stopped to gas up. We're docked here and smoking. Sandpoint is of the Schmogen Islands. Schmogen. Located on the Northwest Island. That's very confusing. Settled next to Pirate Cove. No, that's a real place, by the way. Pirate Cove. We're sitting in the Unga Bay, specifically. We are gassing up at Trident Foods. Trident. They have a giant trident on their building at Sandpoint. So anyway, we're gassing up at Trident Foods, who've decided to complete their look by placing a huge trident on the tippy top of their building. And it so happens a huge Godzilla-sized bald eagle currently nests between two of the barbs of the three-pronged spear-looking thing. Here I am, standing maybe 20 feet away and staring in awe of the massive hunter raptor with its back turned to me and staring, watching the horizon. Standing with Corey Cross. That guy, what a pal, for real. So anyway, continued. Dominic, my crew boss, heavily accented Haitian, in a heavily accented voice, tells us not to smoke or else we'll blow up. Turning your head... Wow. Turning your head and ignoring some people only works based on how well you use it. So, I was kind of disrespectful. So, more so to Dom. Or Nua. So, that's unfortunate. Well, anyway. So if I hadn't known better, I would have thought I was staring at the backdrop of New Zealand's misty mountains. Now this is the environment all around Sandpoint. You know, it's just literally the misty mountains of New Zealand and in the mountain plains, with little sprinkles of color dotting the peaks here and there. There was more like buttes rather and hills, but for the most part today, though, I quite literally just woke up, and I'm sure I'm still dreaming. This island is my favorite. Still is. But I'm still on this journey, and I still can't believe only 11 days have passed since standing at the Amtrak station in the wee morning hours. Thinking back, I remember everyone being happy for me, and twice as scared at the same time for me. Fear had invaded their minds. I was told there was no shame in quitting this job. I was informed of whatever. So, I was informed of every possible thing that could go wrong. But in all good measure, almost all adventures aren't just pretty faces and Bahama mamas. There is the approaching ghost army. Hey, you know, everyone gets a little philosophical, or I guess approaching ghost army. It's just kind of like the inevitable is coming on the horizon, you know, and you can't really run from it. So, life's the adventure, you know. You won't know when they arrive. You won't even know when they're coming. And I didn't know how true that was until later on in my adventure there in Alaska. Not until they cut you down and on they go. On to the next one. But I'm here for the whole deal. Everything in these 11 days has convinced me that moving on isn't as hard. Still certainly harder than everyone was making it sound. But this island, my lost paradise, is second to last before we enter the Bering Sea. The island, this island, then we'll leave, and then we go to the Sinnock Islands that will pass ultimately tonight, which would be, well, we did, I just didn't get to see them. We might cross through the Illusions. So we did not cross through the Illusions, but... Oh. Oh yeah, I was out there on Friday the 13th in the Bering Sea. For all you superstitious people, it was really, really great. And then later on that night, it wasn't so great. So I would probably read that one later. June 14th, 2:46 p.m. Coffee Point. So we did pass around the Illusion Islands. We didn't pass around, but we kind of did zigzags through this canal area that it was between a giant island and then the Illusions over here. It's kind of hard to recall, but it all had the same look, like as Sand Point did. It was just like rolling hills, green grass, wildflowers everywhere. Looked like freaking New Zealand, Scottish, looking. I half expected some wild man to come running out with a spear and be like, "We're gonna take the boat," like, yeah, no, you won't. So, anyway, that's that.